What up, everyone? YouTube Live. This is Rama. Good morning. I just woke up. Sorry, my background is not decent. It's my bedroom, messy sheets and all. So I woke up this morning, Friday morning, June 8th, 2018, hearing upon this bad news or sad news, I should say. Um, Celebrity chef, TV personality, one of my favorite faces on television, Anthony Bourdain, passed away. I think this past night when everybody was falling asleep here in Southern California. He passed away in, let me get this right, Strasbourg, France. So I'm not sure the time zone in relation to here in the West Coast, um, California. He passed away in his hotel room in Strasbourg, France, and I'm reading off of the news report here. He was in the middle of shooting a new episode of his popular show on CNN, Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. And there aren't many details yet, but from the news that has been released about it, it says that it's apparent. His death is caused by apparent suicide by hanging. Um, Not sure how accurate that is, but that seems to be the narrative that the news is going with. That is death by suicide. And this past week, designer Kate Spade also passed away from suicide by hanging. Um, and look, before I get to my thoughts about this, I was a huge fan of Anthony Bourdain. Um, I was a huge fan of his long-running show before Parts Unknown. I think it was No Reservation. I think it was on Travel Channel, I believe, or Food Network. Travel Channel? I think Travel Channel. Um, and man, he just had a very cool way of traveling and tasting all kinds of food. I mean, there's a bunch of other personalities that have done that prior to him, and then that are still doing that. Like Guy Fieri and all those guys. But nobody does it like Anthony Bourdain did. All right. For one, he had that bad boy persona. I'm not sure. I don't think he faked it. A lot of people saying, "Well, that's just probably for the camera." I don't think he's that much of a bad boy in real life. I think it's one and the same guy. Um, I love that he cursed occasionally, to express his because it expresses that he's genuine and that he's authentic. Um, I love that about him, and some of the weirdest shits that he's ever eaten. I, I think he's eaten some animal's eyeball or some animal's testicles. I don't know if they're seal or it's like the rarest thing ever. I know maybe a lot of you are vegetarians out there. I'm not. I'm a carnivore. So maybe food wise you don't have much admiration for Anthony Bourdain's taste in food, but um I was just amazed by the balls he had, man, to try some of those exotic, rare foods that nobody would ever want to put in their mouths. And also when he travels, it makes you want to travel too. Like a lot of people would say like, "Oh, I want to go to France, I want to go to Antarctica, I want to go to Iceland," and but we never do. We always have excuses. But watching Anthony Bourdain makes you wanna go. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go to my bank account. I'm gonna book my ticket right now. I'm gonna fly out just like Anthony Bourdain did. He was that influential. Um, and the way he informed us about the locals, the people there, the natives, it opened our eyes. You know, when you watch Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations or Parts Unknown, it, kind of like the world is open to you. You know, like your horizon gets broadened. You're not just like this narrow mindset, like stuck to just what is in your neighborhood kind of guy. You see Anthony Bourdain, it's like, oh, look at those interesting people. Look at what they eat. You know, you may not like what they eat. You may not, you may not grow accustomed to their customs or their lifestyles, but you learn something about them because of Anthony Bourdain. You're less prejudiced. You're less narrow-minded because of that kind of show. You know, you're like, oh, the world is bigger than just my zip code. You know, I think that's important in this day and age when unfortunately there's a percentage of us in this country where like all that matters is here. You know, screw the world. No, no. Anthony Bourdain is like, there's more to this. You know, there's more to this than just this. Go out there, meet people. Of course, he gets paid by Travel Channel and now and then CNN to do all this. If we do traveling, if we probably don't get paid. Oh, my battery's running out. Let's see. Hold on a second here. I think I have my charger somewhere. Where's my charger? I'm using my phone because it's a lot intimate, a lot up close and personal, as opposed to my laptop. There you go, charging it. And I want to do this impromptu, because I just heard the news this morning, and how sad I am still about the news of his death. Which brings me to my point, that, let's see here. I hope it's charging. A lot of people, after Kate Spade and then Anthony Bourdain, it's like, okay, it's suicide by hanging, suicide by death by suicide. What's going on here? Well, it's clear. Depression, mental illness, what have you, it doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't see celebrity status. I mean, look what happened to the late great Robin Williams. The trailer for Robin Williams documentary on HBO came out this week, and it brought up all those emotions. Like, oh man, I miss Robin Williams. But also, you know, even if you're not a celebrity, man, I read the news here. I'm reading the news off of CNN, surprisingly so, because CNN is the outlet where Anthony Bourdain worked. And it says that CDC, Center for Disease Control, uh, stated that the U.S. has seen about 25 increase in suicide rate since 1998. I'm sorry, correction, 1999. Suicide rate in the U.S. has increased by 25% since 1999, CDC says. And that's not something to just brush aside or to just ignore. That's a sad state of affairs and something to be alarmed about. You know, we always talk about mental illness whenever an unfortunate tragedy like school shootings happen. Um, and I don't know the solutions to this is. I know that I can share you at least my personal experience when I was in college, and I've shared this many times on my Facebook post, in my personal Facebook post. Um, as a way annually, I would share it annually as a way to as a way of healing. Um, in college, I think in 2005, right before I was graduating, I was so stressed out because I didn't know what to do with my life. I had this business degree that I was gonna get, but I was like, what am I gonna do with business degree? My friends seem to have it all figured out. They want to be a doctor, they want to be a nurse, they want to be a pharmacist, they want to be a lawyer, and they got it all figured out, and I was just stressed out. I was like, my degree is so vague. My future's gonna be really bleak. I don't know what to do with this thing. What am I gonna work at? Um, and I told, I love my parents. My parents like, just stuck it through. I told them maybe I should just go back to pre-nursing, but then again, I was like, oh, the school that I was in, it was a private university. It's so expensive. It already cost my folks a lot of money, and so I went into depression those few months prior to graduation. Um, and I wrote on a Zanga blog. Do you remember Zanga? I think it was before MySpace. Zanga was an online blog. It was popular. It was like a one-off thing. Um, one hit wonder blog, and I wrote a long paragraph about my condition and how I'm giving up. Luckily, at that moment, and I don't think he would mind if I mention his name. My friend Casey Hohensi. I think he was a supervisor, an RA on the fourth floor. I live in the dorm. I was an RA in the sixth floor. Um, he caught wind of my Zanga blog post, and then he informed the deans about it. Um, and I don't think they would mind if I mentioned their names either, Dean Kurtz and Dean Barrett. And so they asked me to go to their office, and we had a long talk, and they were pretty concerned about my condition, and I was glad that they were there. I was glad for Casey and Dean Kurtz and Dean Barrett, because otherwise I don't know what would have happened. I was just freaking out. And then a couple of years after that, it happened again after I got my MBA, because I took MBA just like, oh, fuck it. You know what? Let me just take master's. At least I'm still in school instead of trying to figure out what to do with my life. So I chose to go to pursue my master's and stay in school the next 2 years. And then after that, I was like, oh, what now? So instead of going into depression, I drove myself out on a road trip to Washington and back. That's my way of healing myself. Um, I think it was for a month, I believe. No, maybe less than a month. So I had my experience with this, and I'm not trying to make this all about me. Okay, I'm saying that this could be the most invisible pain, invisible illness there is in our society. Um, you never know who it might hit. All right, it could be somebody famous as Anthony Bourdain or Kate Spade. It could be somebody you wake up to in the morning, you sleep with. I read, some news before, like about how a widow. She said that I didn't even know that my husband was suffering from depression, and then he committed suicide. I didn't see the signs. So I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a shrink. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what the solutions are on finding out the symptoms. Somebody more of an expert than I am would know. All I can say is that from my experience with Casey and Dean Barrett and Dean Kurtz, just be there for them, man. Be there for them. Either through calling them, or if you're far away. Now there's social media, of course. So we're all connected. All right. There's always ways to get to your loved ones. Um, Check up on them once in a while and see, hey, how's it going? Hey, you want to talk about it? You want to talk about things? Talking things out really, really does help. Trust me. Um, I was on the brink, man. I was freaking out. But that's my experience. A lot of other people's experiences are different. You, uh, you don't know what they're struggling through. Everybody's got their own demons, they say. Um, so this is the lesson that we can learn from Anthony Bourdain's passing. It's a reminder of the struggles of so many people, not just celebrities like Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, and Robin Williams. Um, so many people are, again, 25% increased suicide rate in the US. And that's alarming since 1999. That's not something to like, oh, it's just another day in the U.S. No, 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 no. We need to look into this. We need to, but on a smaller scale, just be with your loved ones, man. Check up on them, call them, talk about them, make time for them, hang out. Even if you don't want to talk, if you don't, if even if they don't want to talk about their struggles, maybe go to have coffee with them and talk about other things. Just be there. All right, that's my thing. Because I think what kept me from committing suicide, I don't know if a lot of people would have this reason as well, is for me, I thought about the impact that would have on my loved ones. Um, that I guess I'm visualizing, the pain that they would go through too if I was gone. I mean, this morning, um, even though I don't know Anthony Bourdain personally, I'm like, dude, he's gone. He left us, the fans. We loved his show. Now we can't. I know that's a selfish thing to say, but that's the thing that kept me thinking, like, oh man, what would this do to my parents, my sisters? Um, so for those of you struggling the same, you know, maybe that could be one way. Just think of your loved ones before you do, whatever might cross your mind. Um, think of what you might put them through, and get some help. You know, call them. Hey, can we meet? Can we talk? Can we just hang out? Or can you just sit with me and we don't talk at all? Sometimes that helps. Sometimes you need somebody to sit next to you and, like, just, I don't know, watch a movie, watch the traffic passes by without talking at all, and that helps. I don't know. Whatever works. Just don't go through it on your own. All right? Anthony Bourdain, my thoughts and prayers, my heart goes out to his family and Kate Spade's family as well. May they receive comfort and strength through this loss, through this grief. And we, the fans, will forever miss them. Let's wrap this.